It's one of those old Columbia 10-inch LPs. But everything else tends to raise the hair on the back of your neck.
Well, FM radio, I think, is also not as much, again, as I think. Well, FM radio in relation to that kind of classical music is the same way the pop stations are in relation to your music, I think, and that you don't find too much of them playing that kind of music.
Absolutely.
Either.
Yeah, I mean they're still stuck in the romantic early contemporary.
You hear Beethoven coming out of your ears.
Yeah. Well, see, it's like everything in America tends to give a warped impression of where it's really at.
Yeah. In fact, I don't know if there's any out in the coast, if you heard any, but there's a station in Connecticut that has the top 100 in classical music. They play the 100 pieces over and over again. They begin with 40. They call it the top 40 classical favorites. And they would just play these 40 things in a row, and as soon as they were finished, they would play the same songs in the same sequence over and over again. And now they got to list up the top 100. And it's just, the same thing, one after the other.
Well, I'm sure
it's easier on the programmers, I imagine.
Yeah.
But,
pronouncing those names and
yeah.
after you've been through the list 3 times, well, you really sound like whoa.
Yeah, and they probably have these gigantic reels of tape that they fell over. They rewind it and start the whole thing over again.
Yeah, it's on one of those spools like telephone wire.
Right. But I don't know, I hope this. Well, it happened with when the regulations FCC demanded the stations with both AM and FM outlets have to have different programming at least half the time. So that's how the WRFM got started.
Yeah,
and hopefully,
accident. Yeah.
Hopefully those, it'll make room for more some of the other kind of music.
Another thing that's disgusting is the R&B station, especially the ones in LA, man. It's so saturated with plastic Motown, falsetto, rocking, big band bullshit, man. It makes you cry. It doesn't even sound colored anymore.
Yeah.
They don't play any country blues. You hear maybe they'll play one John Lee Hooker record every 6 weeks, and it's probably, here he is, yeah, blues favorite, yes sir, I'll snap her fingers to this, get that fucker off of there and stick the impressions back on or something.
Yeah.
And that's really getting sterile too. And the jazz stations are just sick. They have a top 40 thing too.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the interesting aspects of what we do, because and it's also one of the things that a lot of people didn't notice about the Freak Out album, is that it was distilled and packaged very purposefully. It's sold on site. When can you remember in the history of teenage bullshit music has an unknown group come out with a 2-album package that looked like that? There was a lot of grease behind that. And, well, that was partly to do with the company taking a risk to put out a full-color thing like that. But the packaging is part of the gag on that.
Would you care to run through some of that?
Sure. The only thing that
when I asked for some material on you, that was all I could get from MGM.
This is all they give you?
Plus a couple of photos. But,
well, anyway, this terrible bullshit layout. Now listen, this is so disgusting. This is the ugliest layout I've ever seen in the inside of an album. And I'm not responsible for any of it except the words. These pictures over here just...
Well, whose idea was it to crop them that way?
Well, here's the way it works. They have an agency. And the artists rotate, Oh, I got a job for you, Fred. What is it today? Well, we got this album. It's Freak. Well, I don't know. It's some of the teenage weird stuff, Give me something a little different with the pictures. Get your pinking shears and make it cute. Something spiffy for the kids. Look, this is so irrelevant, man. P.F. Sloan, who needs him? And Les McCann and Paul Butterfield and some of the Enemies, the group called the Enemies that MGM signed, and just...
Who captioned the photos?
I didn't. That was their thing. The only thing I'm responsible for on here is the text and all the cover design. Jack Anish Okay, Jack, I got your number. I'll tell you, I am doing the complete layout on the album cover this time.
If you can get that, it's good.
Yeah.
The record, for some reason, again, the people in the record companies feel that what does he know about packaging it? It's only your music. What do you know about packaging it?
Well,
I
wish that we could have done the interview up there at the room. You see, I went out and charged $130 worth of art supplies to MGM, which gives me like a complete studio up there in this dingy little hotel room that I'm staying at. Yesterday I sat in my chair for 13 and a half hours. I'm doing the mechanicals, the whole bullshit for putting this thing together, and it's really going to be a mind warper. Anyway, the packaging and its relationship to the music. We produce a product which is designed to become obsolete within 4 years, in keeping with the great American tradition of planned obsolescence. I could probably plot our success curve for you, but I don't think it'd be wise to reveal all those inside dealies to the kids. I have a very good idea of exactly what's going to happen with this group, and a pretty good idea of what the emotional impact of certain, it's just like Pavlovian reactions, lemons on television and all baloney.
Right.
The packaging is the equivalent of that sort of thing at its best.
Well, we work, by the way, on a 2-month advance, and we turn copy in. It's printed on the stands. It's on the stands 2 months later. So if you care to project the group 2 months hence,
Project the group 2 months.
and perhaps even 3 or 4, because I have enough now for a couple of articles on a couple of different subjects. One on the history of the group, one on the Freak Out album. Could you at least project a couple of months into what you think will happen?
I think that by the time 3 months has rolled around, that we will be known as something other than here's this weird group from the coast, and I think it was Bob Sheldon's terrible mistake to label us a West Coast version of the Thugs, for which he apologized to me the other day. Thank God. And I think that we'll become known as a guiding force of pop music today within about 3 months. We will not actually be the guiding force, but like that'll be the word going around. And you'll see, like, seeing as how everything is delayed so much by publication and things like that. Like, you're seeing a lot of freak out this and freak out that appearing in magazines now. Okay. Our second album will be released in February. Well, the next album is called Absolutely Free. And what it is, it's not a rock and roll album. It's an oratorio. It's rock and roll music, but it's an oratorio. And we include in the album the complete libretto to the oratorio. See, each of the members of the group are taking kind of character parts as they sing these songs. And what it is maybe 8 songs that are edited together, wham, like that, like one continuous piece of music. And what it is a panorama of American life today, including a section about 10 minutes long about a man in City Hall who has a fetish for bawling 13-year-old girls covered in chocolate syrup, preferably his daughter. The result of which is he writes bad laws because he's always horny and he's never satisfied. He just can't get enough of them little girls. And ranges from that to a song about vegetables, and people don't talk to vegetables enough. The version in the album is just about as long as the way we do it at the balloon, big instrumental thing in the middle of it. Okay. But the idea is that it's all packaged to be more like what the music really is and less like a hype. The initial packaging on this was, hey, look at this shit!
Yeah.
$3.12 at the Mayfair Market, I'll take it. That's what it's going for in LA now. Okay? Now, the packaging comes closer down to what the music is. A little bit more tasteful interior, the